Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You, my dear little chicken heads, have wandered onto the #1 prog rock channel on all of YouTube. Yeah, it's the Prog Corner. And today, man, I am so excited. I have a very, very special guest. This one here really freaked me out, man, because I encountered this band Lift back when there was some bootleg Fako version of the vinyl that came out. We're talking to Chip Gramillion from Lift, and we're excited because Disques Plus Corel PQR is reissuing the album. Actually, its first official release, and I've got with me the keyboard player, the mastermind behind it all. It's Chip Gramillion. Chip, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thank you for coming on, man. This is great. I love it.
This is a lot of fun, and yeah, you know, just a little bit of background on Disques Plus Corel first, and then I want to do a deep dive on Lift. And sure. You guys had a crazy backstory. You guys got a crazy history, unlike probably any other band I've ever heard about, reading all the craziness that went on in that very short time span. But my good buddy George from Disques PQR, he's been hooking it up, and he's been doing amazing things. I first came into contact with them when they reissued Boo Boo's Annabellis album, that great Argentinian band. But he's been doing great things, man. The Alpha Centauri reissue, French Psych, just amazing. Cheval Fou reissued that, another amazing Psych album. On point here from New Jersey, he reissued the great Mirth Rander's 1976 classic For You, the Old Women. And then he went back into Till. He re-released the first two San Michael albums, Hans Luden from Kaipa. You got to have those. Sweden's Gandalf, he just reissued that. But of all of those great records he's built out in the last 12 months or so, the one that got me the most excited, oh, man, it's Lift, Caverns of Your Brain. Oh, man. Oh, looks like you got the same gradient I did. Yeah. Let's crack open my copy here. Let's take a look here. I think I got the same color you got, but there are 3 different color gradients on here. They all look great. They're all very limited edition, like 200 copies or something. Now, the original album, there were 4 tracks, but you've got a download code that you've got some additional bonus tracks. So that kind of blows this thing up to like a double album almost. Yeah, I got the gold also. Yeah. Look how beautiful. Caverns of Your Brain. Nice little insert that comes with it with the lyrics and all the information about the band. Wonderful packaging. George is doing such great work with bringing some of these albums that nobody's heard about back to life. And what do you think of the new artwork?
I love it. I love it.
Oh, man, this is just stellar, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. It reminded me so much of ELP. It was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of that brain cell surgery thing going on.
Absolutely.
And there are...
As a keyboard player, I was complimented.
I love this package. Yeah. You got the 4 main songs, and then you got the download code. So let's talk about this twisted story of your band Lift, how they formed, and just give me a little biography about it, because I'm confused, man. You had the New Orleans years, you had the Atlanta years, and then you had Philadelphia recording sessions. Kind of give me a breakdown on everything.
Well, Lift was primarily myself on keys, a fellow named Chip Grevenberg, who I'd been friends with since grammar school, on drums, and bassist Cody Kelleher. Those we were kind of the core 3. Yeah,
the 3 C's, Chip, and Cody.
Chip, and Cody. That was it. And we'd been in a whole variety of bands, playing everything from Allman Brothers to Sabbath to Lucky Man, when I've got my first synthesizers and things. And I wound up in my last year and a half in high school. I wound up in Pensacola, and that's where I met Courtney Hilton Green and did a couple of things with him. And then I convinced him to come to New Orleans. And,
now, Courtney was the singer, right?
Courtney was the singer, right? Yeah. And So I went to work at a music store on the summer of '72.
What store? Where were you working?
A place called Sound City. It was the rock store in
Yeah.
New Orleans back in the day. And I was working in this. I saw this guy sitting down at a guitar, and he was smoking it, man. He was just killing it. And we didn't really have we had a rhythm guitarist, but not really a lead guy. And I walked up and started talking to him, asked him his name. It was Richard Huxon. And I said, "Are you in a band?" He said, "No." And I said, "You want to be in a band?"
You're in a band now.
Yeah. And he goes, "Yeah, sure." I said, I gave him the address, and he came over and sat in on a rehearsal. It was like, "You're it. You're in." Yeah, he was hot. He was
now the aforementioned rhythm guitar player. He left shortly thereafter, right?
Yes, Chris Young was his name, and actually he was the guy that co-wrote "Simplicity." And came up with some of the lyrics to Simplicity. Okay. And I think he came up with part of Caverns with Courtney.
Nice.
And so Chris left very shortly after Richard came in. Chris wanted to study architecture. He was at Tulane. He wanted to be an architect.
Yeah.
Architect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. He was the smart one of the bunch. He got out of the music business.
Yeah. Yes. No doubt. No doubt. But
man.
We started making a lot of noise around town. The biggest problem was, look, New Orleans is a southern rock town.
Yeah.
With a heavy blues bass, and some jazz, and nobody knew what the hell to do with a progressive rock band. They just didn't have any idea.
Well, I heard you opened your shows with "Watcher of the Skies." I don't think they knew what was coming.
Yeah, well, I had a Mellotron at that point, and I dug ditches for a couple of summers for that, and then dug ditches for another summer to get the custom tapes that Banks used, the brass and the mixed strings and the wire.
Now it's built in. You can get the Watcher of the Skies preset now on the new Mellotrons.
Yeah. Nobody has to work for anything anymore.
Nah.
No, I mean, when a Mellotron's $3,500 and a house is $30,000, you're you see the ratios there. But so we got those tapes, and we started being able to open with Watcher of the Skies. And when we're doing some dances too,
right?
The funny part for us was watching people try to dance to.
Oh yeah, I bet
nobody had any idea what to do with that with us, But we picked up a lot of steam in New Orleans, and then we started playing around the Southeast. We did some gigs in Florida and Mississippi, and which was really interesting. I mean, we were behind chicken wire on a Mississippi stage. Look, the bottom line is there was no room for progressive rock bands at that time in the South. I mean, this is 74, 73, 74, 75, that era.
It was tough for all progressive bands in America. It's just a really tough slog.
Yes, it was. But, we got very fortunate, very lucky that there was a fellow in radio, and he may be retired now. His name is Lee Abrams. He's huge in radio. He programs God knows how many radio stations in America now. He's in Atlanta now. And he and his partner at the time, a man named Sonny Fox, Sonny really liked us and said, "You guys got to get in the studio." And so he was the one that really persuaded some of our relatives to raise the money. Yeah, and we got a really great deal from Bill Evans, William Evans at Studio in the Country, because he liked progressive rock, and he just finished doing a Johnny Winter album. Oh, and we came in, and he loved us, so he gave us this really sweet deal. We got 5 days, and that's all: set up, tear down, record, mix. Right. That was it. 5 days.
And those sessions, that's where we got Simplicity, Caverns. Buttercup,
that's what became the Caverns of Your Brain album, which is
Tripping Over the Rainbow. That's the other one.
Yeah, Tripping Over the Rainbow. Yeah. The actual name of the album was supposed to be Simplicity. Yeah. But since it was bootlegged and I had no idea, nobody knew, they just picked a psychedelic sounding name. Yeah. And so that's what it got known as.
Now, were there any hard feelings about that bootleg that came out?
No. I mean, the reality was, we know who did it. It was Bill Evans from the studio. He he put 500 copies out in a bankruptcy deal. And I mean, it was fine with all of us. What do we care? Nothing had ever happened with the music.
Right.
So as far as we were concerned, hey, you know, pardon my French, the shit's out in the world.
Yeah, it's getting out there one way or the other, right? But and this is such a better album cover too, right?
Yeah, that's I mean, the first one, you know, was just some generic artist, but
it didn't look right.
No, what George did for this was just outstanding. I mean,
look at this back cover, man. Look at that thing.
Yeah, it's a first-class product, no doubt.
I mean, when the back cover looks almost as good as the front cover, man, you know you got something. Now, those 4 tracks that comprise the actual album itself, those were recorded with William Evans. What about these bonus tracks? It says here most of them were recorded in Atlanta, so this was like phase 2 of Lift, right? Yes. What happened? What hastened your departure from Louisiana at that time?
Well, word was that Eddie Oford, the engineer for Yes and ELP at the time, was looking to build a studio in Atlanta. Now that never happened, but that was the word on the street. And Sonny Fox and Lee Abrams had both moved to Atlanta for bigger radio conquests. Yeah. And so they said, man, you guys ought to get to Atlanta. You know, that there's a little bit more. It's not quite as steeped in the traditions of the New Orleans style music. It's a little more open. Yeah. Now, you know, Allman Brothers and all of that were really huge in Georgia at the time. And that's fine. We played a lot of Allman Brothers and loved them. I love their music. This kind of progressive blues, you know.
Absolutely, the Allmans are progressive. They may not be prog rock, but that's a progressive rock band.
Yeah, that's a progressive band as far as blues goes. They took it in a whole new direction. So anyway, we go to Atlanta, and I mean, the real simple story is nothing worked out except we wound up getting back in the studio and recording additional material with a different lineup because things went so badly that first year in Atlanta. I mean, we were in a house that every time it got, you tried to turn on the central air and run 2 lights, the circuit would go out. And so Atlanta that year got very cold. Yeah. You wake up when you got a mattress on the floor and you wake up and your glass of water from the night before is frozen solid. You know, that's living for your music.
Yeah. What was this, like 78?
It was 76, 77.
Oh, 77.
76. Yeah.
Okay.
Forget it. God.
Yeah.
It was cold. And so, you know, we stayed in Atlanta a few more years and the Abrams Fox thing was never able to put anything together, but they did get us in the studio one additional time. And that's where the perspectives and the waiting room, we changed some members. We had a female singer who was a coloratura soprano trained. I mean, she had a fantastic voice. Yeah. But the music was very different. And I didn't compose any of it. It had a much more kind of laid back mid-Genesis feel to it. Yeah. Than the kind of energy stuff that I wrote on the initial album. And I find that most people that know Lift and know our music really prefer the early music to the later music.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, that's fine with me.
There you go. Yeah, I tend to fall into that camp as well. The 4 songs that make up the album proper are outstanding. Yeah. But hey, the bonus tracks are excellent and very worthy to have. Was there any thought about including some of that onto the vinyl, or you wanted to keep it as is?
Inception, which is the last piece I wrote, that's the long one, the 20.
Yeah, it's like 26 minutes or something.
Yeah, yeah, that one. What you heard was really just a rehearsal kind of take on the thing. But the Samurai of Prague, who are out of Finland, a trio that brings in extra guest artists and doesn't, they actually recreated that song.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
on the Lost and Found album.
Yeah, 2000.
And I am happy to report that November 3rd, Sunday, 11 a.m. Mark your calendar, boys and girls. I got the Samurai of Prague on the Prague corner. We're going to have Kimmo Porsti. We're going to have Marco Greco. And I'm hoping we get Marco Bernard too. Yeah. but I definitely got Kimmo and Marco Greco. I'm a huge Samurai of Prague fan, and I totally forgot that they did that song. I'm usually really good at like remembering stuff like that before I talk to somebody. I'm glad you mentioned that.
They did their version had a little less energy and dynamic flow than we did because our band was pretty energetic to say the least. But they did a phenomenal job on it. I mean, I look back at it as the composer and just say, my God, I mean, these guys really just put a sweet treatment on it.
They're fantastic. I mean, they've got like 18 albums out in the last 15 years. These guys just keep coming at you with greatness. So I'm really excited. In fact, I just got the new Samurai Prague album in the mail today. It's called The Time Machine. So I'm excited about that, man. But you're in Atlanta. Things aren't working out the way you wanted them to work. Did the band end with a bang or a whimper? I mean, what were the final days of Lift like?
Well, as I said, we changed members and we kept having all these false starts, like, we're going to get in the studio and do this and it's going to go. And I mean, we were very good friends with Lee Abrams, who was like the leading guy in programming FM radio. And, I mean, we just had everything we thought we needed, but it just never, by the time everything got ready, Prague was dying.
I think it was a timing thing, right?
It was absolutely a timing thing. I mean, if everything had come together for us, we hadn't had such a tough slog in that last year and a half. We've been able to get out and ready by, say, 74. We probably would have had some career. Yeah. But it just turned out, as usual, to be timing, But look, I couldn't be more amazed, Scott, that anyone is interested in this music today. I mean, when Greg Walker first contacted me, I drove to LA to meet him, and I was absolutely stunned that this thing had even been put out.
Yeah, now Greg Walker also put out the CD, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Like in 1990, which I believe is where I encountered you guys first. I had been hearing about this because I've always been fascinated with AmeriProg and why it never reached the heights of the UK version of it. And I have come to the conclusion that has nothing to do with talent level or the quality of the bands, because we had Yezda Urfa, we had Cathedral, we had Mirthrander, we had The Load, we had Lift. There were a lot of amazing, really Arabesque. I mean, I could go on and on, Easter Island, on and on it goes. But the problem is to break a band in the U.S. The U.S. is ginormous. It's huge. You can't just get on one or two radio stations. That works in the U.K., right? If you get on BBC One or something, you're good. It covers everything. Here, man, not only do you need to hit, and this is before deregulation, so you had hit every radio station, one by one by one, and then you have to tour the thing, and America's ginormous. Who's got that much time, energy, and money to pursue that kind of thing? Right. Breaking a band in America in the 70s would cost millions of dollars, and labels would have to spend that much on their promotional budget to break a band like Jethro Tull or Yes. And you probably didn't have that.
American labels were terrified of progressive music. They had no idea how to deal with it. They saw it really as a European phenomenon. Yeah. And again, we really hit our stride right at the end. And so,
because in the beginning of the prog era, it definitely seemed like the people that were running record labels were the old school, right? The old guys that knew about jazz and classical. They didn't know nothing about this prog rock stuff. All they saw was dollar signs. They knew it was selling. They didn't understand it, not one little bit. And that actually helped the artists, because there was a certain hands-off nature to the relationship between A&R people and artists that changed dramatically later on. Absolutely. But in the beginning, you could do whatever you want, because they weren't dumb. They were seeing bands like Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer making a ton of money. So they're like, I don't understand it, but just record your 26-minute long epic. I don't care as long as it sells. But like you said, by 74, 75, 76, certainly.
Yeah, it was.
You were getting younger guys working for the labels that thought they knew what they were doing, and they thought they could shape the music instead of, direct artists. So the whole industry just changed.
Well, and the worst at least in my humble opinion, the worst thing that happened was called the Bee Gees. And it was disco, and it landed like a bomb.
Yeah.
It just, and the media got behind it. The movies the John Travolta movie, that whole thing, it just exploded.
Yeah.
And it literally blew the wind out of the sails of anything else that was kind of not right at the top at the time.
Absolutely. I mean, how many copies did Saturday Night Fever sell? I mean, unbelievable. At the time, it was the biggest selling album of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
it's still right up
it's still top 10, yeah.
Yeah.
But, the industry had moved on, and that happens, but people always look at the demise of prog rock, and they always look at the evil record companies and they're just so greedy. They failed to realize that a lot of the bands fell into that too. It wasn't just record labels that were looking at the Gibbs brothers and saying, man, I wish I had their money. It was the people in bands saying, we need to change their sound, man. So they did it to themselves. It's a self-inflicted wound. It was an own goal. Prague killed itself, and because disco got so hot and so popular, the greed kicked in, man. That's all it is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it succumbed to a whole series of issues. Some of them were really self-inflicted, and it's just every type of music that's a little bit unusual has its period, a brief period. And progressive, look, it appealed to a group of people that they weren't necessarily dying to get out on a dance floor and go sweat. They wanted to listen, they wanted to understand, they wanted to hear a message. If it was a song, the lyrics had a message. They were interested in more of a mind thing than a physical thing. Yeah. And that changed. It simply shifted.
And I think part of why prog audiences in the early 70s in particular were so patient was we were just coming off of the psychedelic era.
Yeah.
And, people were all like, they were enjoying music in a different kind of way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe one that was perhaps chemically enhanced a little bit, but that certainly played into it a little bit too, I think.
Oh, sure. And, absolutely. And I think progressive rock had an audience that was kind of listened almost like an audience listens to a symphony or an opera.
Yeah, exactly.
They were there for the art of the music. They weren't there to dance or party or do anything else. They were there for the music.
Well, when people question me about, prog wasn't that big back then.
Yeah,
I remind them that, Jethro Tull had back-to-back #1 albums in the U.S., 1972 with Thick as a Brick, 1973 with The Passion Play, and the total number of songs on those two albums combined is 2.
Yeah.
Both were one song.
Yeah.
And they both hit #1. The world has changed, man. It's not like it was.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely right.
But that's why I started the channel, Chip, to not just, nostalgia core is a big part of what we do. We talk about the 70s, longful eyes and the yearnful wishes in our heart. But the reality is that, prog is not dead. There's still a lot of great prog bands out there. Keeping the prog flames burning. And one of the things that I love doing is promoting artists that, for whatever reason, slip through the cracks, right? And this right here, boys and girls, is Exhibit A. If you ever want to find out a band that, 50 years ago put this thing out, right? And it still sounds amazing, man. I mean, the joy of discovery, of finding something new, finding something different. This record is awesome. So I am imploring all my viewers, man. You've probably heard of Lift, right? Most of my people they're pretty slick. They're pretty well informed.
Oh, yeah.
But you may not have heard it, man, and you need this. Disques Pluscarel, PQR, an amazing label that's doing so much great work for artists that deserve it. What did you do after Lift? Did you continue with music at all?
I'll say this. One thing that people said when we came out of the studio and they started hearing that recording is the basic comment was, you guys sound like a mid-air collision between ELP and Deep Purple. And I said, I don't know about that, but I'll take it.
I don't hear it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That,
I
nope.
don't either, but
You're comparing me to John Lord and Keith Emerson. Yeah, you keep it coming.
Well, yeah, and nobody sings like Ian Gillan, so
Yeah.
I'll take it though.
Absolutely.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what did you do after Lip? Did you stay in the music business at all, or did you just say, you know what, I shot my shot. Let's go do some plumbing.
Well, well, I didn't stay in the music business. I still have composed a couple of compositions. Obviously, finished off Inception, which, as we said, the Samurai did, and I've done some other compositions, which mostly are electronic style.
Cool.
Now, because I've gotten bad arthritis in my hands, I just don't have the capability I used to. So,
Right.
Ambient textures are kind of more fun.
Sure.
With an occasional little flair. But I got into the video production business.
Oh.
And set up my own company and moved from New Orleans to Palm Springs, California. And don't want to bore your audience, but basically this place is almost 100% cable penetrated. So
Yeah.
you can start producing shows and put them on, and you wind up making a living producing cable programming.
There you go.
So that's what we did.
Yeah, you left the music business, but you didn't leave the business. You were still in the entertainment sphere.
Oh yeah. And music is still that's where my heart is. I mean, honestly, my heart and soul are. And my wife, we met when I was in the band.
Oh, no way.
She's done the whole.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So she went through it all with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So do you talk to any of the other people, Cody or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I in fact, every time I go back to New Orleans, we'll be going down for Christmas because one of our daughters lives there.
Okay.
The other one's here. But every time we go, we have a big dinner. We go to a restaurant. Everybody sits down at a big table and raises hell and talks about the old days.
Talking about the old days, and hey, we got something new to talk about, man. We're not just living old glories, man. We got something exciting to talk about. The brand new reissue, Lift Caverns of Your Brain. I've always loved this album. I never thought I'd get it on vinyl, because Greg Walker has like one copy.
Yeah.
And I think he wanted to sell it to me for like $5,000.
There's the one copy on my wall.
There it is. Yeah, I think Greg wanted like $5,000 for it. And I'm like, you know what?
No.
I guess I'm never going to own a copy of that album. And then George contacted me a couple months ago.
$4,999.
Yeah, such a deal. Such a deal, man. This has been great. So what new plans do you have? Anything else since this is out? Is this creating like some momentum for your, like all of a sudden you're burning to put more material out?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can see in the back, but I've still got a little mountain of stuff.
Yeah.
And I play every day. I said my hands are arthritic now, so it's not as much. But I have a few little things that I'm in the works with, and a couple of things I've put out just on the internet. I still look. Music is still in my heart. It's still my ultimate passion. So, being that I'm retired, I spend a little time every day playing, and I spend a lot of time every day listening.
Yeah. Anything new you've been listening to that's caught your ear? New-ish.
I can't say I have. In fact, I'm really looking forward to corresponding with you because you can turn me on to a lot more of the newer prog material than I never knew about.
My motto is I listen to all of it so you don't have to. I listen. I think last year, I listened to over 400 prog albums that were released in 2023. This year, I think I'm at like 180 so far. So not quite as many, but I listen to them all so that you don't have to. And I only talk about the ones that are, super stellar. So, when I do album reviews, I don't review something, if I don't love it, I'm not going to review it. So if I'm talking about a band, it's because I'm in love with it and it's somebody that needs some attention. So tune into the Prog Corner every week, man. You're going to find out all you need to find out.
Well, I certainly appreciate you taking time here, man. That's great. I'm glad you enjoy our music. It was a bunch of kids having fun, man. And I can't believe it's still around. You
were like 19 when you recorded this, weren't you?
Yeah, 19. In fact, I turned 20 on the last day of the mix.
Wow. Wow. You know, everybody talks about Mike Oldfield, that charlatan, that bum. You know, oh, he was only 19 when he did Tubular Bells. Here we go. The whole crew of Lift was 19 when they put this record out. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Chip. Man, this has been awesome.
Thank you so much, Scott.
I am so happy we were able to connect two troglodytes that know nothing about the technology. Somehow, some way, we figured it out, man. So thank you.
Made it work.
I appreciate it, man. And anyway, boys and girls, tune in Sunday. We got an exciting show, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. This weekend, we've got the top 10 prog rock guitar solos with none other than Morgan from the School of Prague. This guy's going to blow your mind, man. This guy's guitar playing is sick. He's going to shred some guitar solos for us. We'll have a good time. And then next Sunday, the Samurai of Prague will be on the show. Oh, boys and girls, the Prague never ends here at the Prague Corner. Anyway, guys, I love you. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet. Free the Ukraine. Free Willie. Free your mind. And God save the king. Save King Chucky. Oh, boy, that boy needs your saving right now. Oh, yeah, he does. Thoughts and prayers for the king. He's got that cancer. Bring him to America, I say. Bring that boy to America. We got thoughts and prayers. Oh, we got spells and incantations. We're going to drink poison. Our prayer warriors are working 24/7. We're going to lay some hands on that boy. Oh, yeah, the healing hands of the faithful. That ain't going to work. You know what's going to work, Chip? Hey, Billy Bob, bust out them snakes. We're going to dance with the rattlesnakes. Oh, no, Chip, they're coming at me. Look out. Oh, but I'm protected. Oh, the Spirit of the Lord's got me, and the Spirit of the Lord's got you too. I'll see you Sunday. Peace.
God bless you.